Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. And thank you for once again joining me for the situation report. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. The situation report is something I try to do once a week. It is a compilation of publicly released, I want to emphasize that, publicly released media, government, military, and other topics of interest. And where I can, I'm going to mention what the source is as part of this. This is some of the reports that I get because of a previous job I had with my company. I still get these like international compilations. So I share them with you guys. There's not a lot of people who get them. It's not like it's super special, but you have to have like the job description to be involved in this stuff. And I did. And they just kind of left me on the mailing list because they're like, well, we might need you back one day. And, you might have to do that job again. So in any case, format is as follows. It goes by region alphabetically, and then in each region, I'll go by country alphabetically. And again, it's just topics of interest. And that was my Ring camera. Okay. Which means my dog is chasing my cat around the yard. Anyway, probably Bentley and Stormy chasing the cat. Anyway, so we'll start with Africa, as always. Letter A, Niger. Niger Commission recommends 5-year transition to democratic rule. A commission in military junta-led Niger has recommended a minimum, which means it'll be 20 years, 5-year transition to a democratic rule following national discussions. So they're still struggling with that. Rwanda, beware of the bat, is in quotes. That first one's from Reuters, by the way. Beware of the bat, how a mine in Kigali became the focus of Marburg virus research. This is from The Guardian. Now, this one's going to be interesting. So what it says here is the fatality rate of the disease is normally 88%. But during a recent outbreak in Rwanda, deaths were kept to 23%. A new approach based on studying minors may be the reason why. That one is from The Guardian, UK. And essentially, the miners seem to be following certain protocols that actually diminish the spread of the disease and also apparently mitigate kind of the effect of the illness. Marburg's nasty as shit, by the way. It's not a very nice disease. I mean, disease in general is not nice, but yeah, this is not good. Anyway, those are the two from Africa this week. Relatively quiet. Moving on, East Asia and Pacific. Japan, man who attacked Japan's ex-prime minister Kishida is convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. That's from AP News. Japanese court on Wednesday convicted a man who threw a homemade pipe bomb, at Japan's former prime minister Fumio Kishida at a 2023 campaign event. They sentenced him to 10 years per court officials. That seems like a legit. So did it at the 2023. So his trial took about a year, and you figure he got an appeal and then he got sentenced. So he wins the Stupid People of the Year award. The Philippines, that's from AP News, by the way. Philippine town offers bounty for mosquitoes as dengue fever rises. This is from BBC. Authorities in one of the Philippines' most densely populated urban centers are offering cash rewards for mosquitoes in an attempt to stop the spread of dengue. How the hell does that work? Like, do you bring them dead mosquitoes? Do you keep them live? You put them in a jar? I have so many questions about bounties for mosquitoes. Anyway, moving on. Moving to Europe, the Czech Republic. 2 women killed in a stabbing attack in Czech Republic. 2 women have been killed in a knife attack at a shopping center in the Czech Republic. I did look into this one. They did not stipulate if it was a recent arrival, if it was a psychotic, if it was some political thing. Knives, because there are no guns in that country or they're limited, knives and vehicles seems to be the weapons of choice, but it didn't specify like there was a goal. Like usually when there's a stabbing in the States, it's the 2 people had some kind of business. Either they were dealing drugs or one knew the other, because it's a very personal, up-close way to fight with someone. Whoever it was just went into a shopping center and started stabbing people. So Anyway, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, our favorite friends in the Baltics. Baltic region prepares for war as Russia and U.S. debate Ukraine's fate. France 24. As Russia and the U.S. debate Ukraine's future, countries on the Baltic Sea are ramping up preparations for military conflict amid fears that Russia is preparing for a future war with NATO. I will tell you my opinion right now. I think China and Russia have been preparing for a war with NATO for a hot minute. To me, the whole Ukraine war doesn't make sense. I know NATO was kind of knocking on the gate with Russia, but there was really no strategic value to it. So this almost makes me wonder if the whole war in Russia was meant to draw our resources into Europe so China could do something in Taiwan or somewhere else. I don't know. It's a lot of conjecture on my part, but point being, they're taking it seriously. And I was hoping to actually take a vacation / tour to Lithuania. If I do, I will try to bring a drone. The drones are limited, especially now that the Ukrainians and Russians are blowing each other up with drones. But I'd love to see if I do wind up going out there or for work, see what the hell's going on. That's super interesting. And again, just for those of you new, I usually don't read these in advance. I get the report, I print it out, and then I sit on it for a day. So when I'm recording this, I typically I have not read it, and that's why I had that big laugh with the monkey took out the power in Sri Lanka, because what the hell, yeah. But anyway, moving on. Greece. Farmers block traffic with tractors, scuffle with police in Greece's second largest city. This is the Associated Press. Protesting farmers briefly clashed with police in Greece's second largest city, Thessaloniki. Can't say that. Late Wednesday, after attempting to breach security cordons near a venue where Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis was speaking. God, I can't say any of these words. So apparently not feeling their prime minister. Middle East and North Africa, Israel-Palestinian territories. Israeli fire kills 3 Palestinians in West Bank refugee camp. This is from Reuters. 3 Palestinians were killed on Wednesday by Israeli forces in the Al-Farah camp near Tabas in the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian state news agency WAFA reported. Then I believe right after this, 3 buses in Israel exploded and killed a handful of people there in response. So they're hitting each other now with unconventional attacks. Yemen, and that's from Reuters, by the way. Yemeni Prime Minister calls off arrest of Houthi officials attending Hezbollah, calls for the arrest, of Houthi officials attending Hezbollah chief Nasrallah's funeral. This is the Arab News. Yemeni Information Minister Momar al-Yarani called on Wednesday for the arrest of a group of leaders from Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis, who said he will attend Lebanese Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah's funeral in Beirut. So, yeah, that's interesting that the Yemeni Information Minister is calling for the arrest of the Yemeni Houthis leader. So, yeah, don't go to Yemen right now. Just word of advice. Moving on, South and Central Asia, Pakistan, gunman kills 7 bus passengers in southwest Pakistan. Unknown gunman shot dead 7 passengers on a Lahore-bound bus in southwestern Pakistan's Balochistan province after forcing them off the vehicle and checking their identity documents late on Tuesday. That sounds like a targeted attack. They were looking for someone, and they pulled them all off the bus, found someone they didn't like, and they deleted that person. Moving on to the Western Hemisphere. A look at the 8 Latin American crime groups designated as terrorist organizations by the U.S. This is AP News, so you guys can look it up yourselves. The United States government is formally designating 8 Latin American organized crime groups, aka cartels, that also operate in the U.S. to be foreign terrorist organizations. They're involved in drug trafficking, migrant smuggling, and are extending their territories into the U.S. This is going to be interesting because Mexico, in response, is now changing their constitution to give their president power to react if Americans execute a military strike over the border. Right now, the Mexican government has put 10,000 National Guard on the border, of their National Guard Reserve, whatever they call them, on the other side, supposedly to mitigate immigration and to stop the cartels. We've got our military on their border. From our side, it almost looks like the two countries are militarizing, but they're not calling it that. They're saying it's basically intervening with the drugs and intervention with the cartels and the trafficking. I'm wondering what's going to happen there, because all we need is some bought out, like a Mexican military guy, opens up on the Marines in California, and then the Marines go and light up a bunch of Mexican soldiers, and we could wind up having a weird situation develop. Anyway, we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Colombia's Petro taps general for defense minister. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro named General Pedro Sanchez as the Andean country's new defense minister. So they're replacing a minister. They're not really relevant to us. Dominican Republic, Dominican officials crammed thousands of inmates facing no charges into overcrowded prisons. Despite promises made to improve the system, critics say the Dominican Republic continues to push for and allow pre-trial detentions. For those of you who go overseas, yelling, "I'm an American, I have rights," means nothing. So just mental note there. Ecuador will seek foreign military aid to combat drug cartels as violence surges. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa on Wednesday took another step in his effort to enlist foreign military assistance to combat the drug cartels and organized crime groups that have been behind the escalation in the violent crime over the last 4 years. A lot of these countries have finally gotten tired of being basically victimized by these organizations, and so now they're reacting, and it's kind of bad. I'm looking through the other reports. There's a security alert for Rwanda on the borders. Slovakia is having a protest. It doesn't specify for what. Mexico countrywide alert, spring break travel. This one's relevant to Americans and Canadians. Travel smart, be informed. Each year, thousands of U.S. citizens visit Mexico during spring break. While the vast majority travel safely, visitors should consider the following recommendations. This one should be able to be downloaded from state.gov if you're interested in that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a short report today. So on that front, folks, if you're going to make travel plans, factor these kind of things in, do your homework. Because remember, as I said before, just because you're an American or a Canadian doesn't mean you have jack rights anywhere. In other countries, they may not give a rat's. They may even make it worse if they know you're an American or a Canadian. That being said, be safe, be careful out there, plan your trips, and I will see you on the next situation report or another video. You guys be good out there and take care of yourselves.